do is sleep. All I want to do is drink alcohol and smoke weed, which, by the way, I did do until I got my assignment submitted, because I was trying to keep myself as numb as possible because I still had to get it done. Obviously, I found out about Randy's death midday on Friday, and my assignment was due on Friday. I tell you what, it has definitely taught me the lesson of don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today, because when I finished the assignment on Thursday, I had gotten it to a point where I knew all I had to do was literally, it would have been like an hour or two max, just read the riddle, add a couple of references, and just like, you know me, I'm not a concise person. When I have to cut words, it's usually like 300 or something, right? But I had like 55 words to cut, and I knew that I could do it. And obviously by this point I'd called and I'd spoken to you, and I spoke to my GP, and I don't know if it was before or after. It might have been after I spoke to you, I think. And then I sent a letter to the lady in charge for the unit, so the unit chair, and I explained what was going on. And I was like, I'm so sorry I have to do this. I'm like, but I literally had like an hour's worth of work to do, and now I'm a complete mess on the floor, unable to breathe, crying kind of thing. So she kindly gave me until 11:59 on the Sunday. And then I did what I always do, because I'm even in my absolutely insane grief, questioning the world, my fucking perfectionism doesn't go away. My 1 hour of work, that is literally all it would have taken. Yeah, it took a lot longer than that. I don't even know if what I've submitted is even good, because I was just, and I openly admit this, because I was purposely trying to stay numb to get it done before I allow myself to feel my real feelings, because as we know, my feels are really, really, really deep, and I didn't know how I'd be able to manage. So I was still working on it. Oh my God, at 11:45 on the Sunday night, I knew I had to have it in by 11:59, because you know what it's like with uni. As soon as it hits midnight, 12:01, you're 5% gone, right? And I went to submit it, and even though she had said, you've got until this time, please make sure you write a note to remind me not to add the penalty, blah, 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 it was locked. I couldn't submit. And I will be honest and say, old Liv, or maybe not quite as numbed out at the time Liv, would have freaked out, right? Oh my God, I can't even submit the fucking thing. What I actually did do in the end was just send the email. I wrote the time that the email was sent. So I was like, the Dropbox is locked. This is what you've advised me to do. I replied to the email she'd sent me, and I attached my assignment, and I attached the letter, from the doctor. And it was the following day I got an email, but I didn't wake up until like 3:30, yeah? So I got an email from her, and she was like, I've opened the Dropbox so you can do it. Please ensure you obviously upload exactly the same one. But I did what I always do, which is right in the last hour, change a bunch of stuff and second guess myself. But it is what it is. I think the fact that Randy's died, and I was wrong. I thought it was bad at 23. He's 22 in May. He just turned 22, and it's like, he was one of those people who always saw the good, yeah? And he always helped me when I couldn't see the good. And he was that one who, he'd always say to me, make sure you've got a couple of hours. We're going to have a long debrief. We'd never talk for less than 2 hours at a time on video. I'm holding on to the fact that I saw him a week before it happened. I'm really struggling. Yesterday, I didn't numb myself. And I cried and cried and cried all day. And we had a work meeting, and I was having so many issues with this fucking computer, internet stuff, because of the 5G, and Graham understands, because, you know, Randy was the one that I went to, and Graham understands it, so he used TeamViewer, and I was like, if you can log into my computer from your house and deal with this shit so I don't have to, go at it, you know what I mean? So him and his dad were trying to help me. It was over like an hour and a half trying to get this shit set up, and it was just draining me. And we'd had a work meeting for online, and it got pushed back and pushed back, and we finally got it so that I could use the internet, but we couldn't get all the devices connected. And so I was a part of this work meeting. Obviously my team is aware of what's going on, and I couldn't stop crying. I just kept breaking down, and then turning the camera off, and then breaking down and breaking down. And in the end, it was like, I just said, I can't do this, guys. And I left the meeting, and I just left it, and I just cried my eyes out. And then Faith, who is the one who came to Queensland with me, she was a part of the meeting, so she saw what was going on. And she messaged me afterwards, and she's like, can I come and see you? I'll come and see you. And my original reaction was, no, don't bother. I know it's pity. And she's like, you're pushing me away. And I was like, I was like, because I don't know how to be right now. I've never been through this. All I do is cry. And she lives, you know, in Carlton or whatever. And I was like, it's too far away, the time of the day. I had every excuse there was. And she was like, Liv, she's like, I'm here for you. Let me come. And then I was like, you know what, okay, here's the address, you decide, right? And she rocked up, and she brought me, you know, chocolate and soft drink and chips and facial masks and this whole little care package. And as soon as she arrived, I hugged her, and I broke. And I just broke, as I feel like I'm going to now. But then I don't know what happened. It was like my overthinking kicked in. Like I kept crying and talking about the storytelling in Queensland, how I know I fucked it up, how I can't remember, how I shouldn't be a part of the team, that I need to quit, that I'm holding everyone back. I'm so blank, and I just word vomited, I don't even know what. And she was just there with me the whole time going, no, Liv, you didn't fuck up. Everything's okay. You're a so important part of this team. Like, you know, we want you to be a part of this. And I was like, I don't even remember what happened. I was like, all I know moving forward is that I need to memorize whatever it is I'm going to say. And she kept trying to make me feel better. And it was just like, and she said things like, you know, she's never lost a friend, so she can't imagine what I'm going through. And it's like, neither. But I think it's like, I don't know, I just guess I had felt so alone for so long. And he was the one who always made time for me. Always. And I was saying to Faith yesterday, I understand that most people are flat out, they work, they have families, they've got kids. I get that. I get that I have more time on my hands. So I feel like the days drag on. And I'm trying to keep busy, and I need to start my second assignment. I need to study for my exam. Randy was going to be there because I'm so fucking freaking out about what happened last time, and I'm really trying to remember to focus on, it's going to be okay, I've got this, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not nervous of just having to do this without somebody else. And it's not like I want someone there to cheat. That's bullshit. I just need someone in the house so I know I'm not alone. And she said to me when she was there, she was like, I didn't know if you were going to flip out if I just arrived, or if you were like saying you didn't need me but you really did. And I said to her, the only reason I would flip out would be if someone called the cat team on me. I said that would end very badly, and I've been saying that my whole life. I said, but I would never turn a friend away if they rocked up knowing that I needed support, because, I don't know, part of my BPD bullshit, I'm guessing, you know, I don't want to push people away, but why was my first instinct pity? That's what happened. That's what I felt. I felt like it was pity. And I'm just so fucking lost.
Okay. So, Liv, you've always had difficulty with your self-worth. It's always been there. And for a long time, when things were different in other aspects of your life, you've had more resilience in that part. So we can kind of chip away at that, because kind of everything else has been just sort of there and okay and kind of ticking along. Yeah? It gives you the space to look at your self-worth. And there have been times when things have been going really, really well with that. Kind of everything fits together really well. The difficulty is that when the chips are down and the heavy pack is on your back, we've talked about the analogy before, the heavy pack is on your back and it's raining, getting from point A to point B, you're not going to use all the positive skills that we talk about. You're not going to use all the good things that are really hard to implement and difficult. You're just going to go from point A to point B in the most direct and familiar and easiest, not easy
I know
with
what
quotes.
you mean.
That's how we're going to get there.
I said to Faith yesterday, I was like, my psychologist called me because I left a message saying it was like immediately important. And I said to her, I was like, I told you that I'd smoked some weed and had some Valium, and you were like, please remember your coping techniques that aren't just around Valium and weed. And she was like, you've got a good psychologist. And I'm like, I know I do. And
They
I know
are
that
coping techniques, and they're okay to have.
they're not the greatest ones, obviously.
Yeah, but they also, let's also be really real, they also helped you to survive to your 30s.
True. I'm closer to 40 these days. So.
Yeah, I'm aware. But they're not the only things that you've got. And the other things are harder, okay? Because they take effort, they take thought, they take consideration. And when the pack is on your back and it's raining and you have to get from point A to point B, you're just going to do the things that are there, because you can't give any more effort and attention to the other stuff. They're bottom of the barrel coping strategies, but they're coping strategies nonetheless. And if your options are kill yourself or take a Valium, choice.
Well, that's what I keep saying, because I've just been holding on to the fact that I have not cut myself.
You should be proud of that.
Because
that for
really
a long time, for a long time, that was your primary coping strategy. So even now, facing one of the most difficult things that you've ever come across in your life, even today, you've not chosen that. So we talk about the paths in the woods.
Yeah.
That path is so overgrown now that the next path is the easiest one to see, which is a win.
I know. And I really am focusing on as good as I can. And it's almost like as soon as I'm around somebody else, though, all the other bad shit comes up. Like,
because that's when you're going to drop your guard and let it all happen and be super vulnerable, and it all goes to shit. But let's talk about the cat team.
Don't ever send one to me.
Let's talk. I'm not right now. I'm just saying. But let's talk about it. Why are they terrible? Because I'm
scared of what my 3D human self will do. in retaliation. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
And is there any benefit at times to having them involved? Not now, let's talk in a theoretical point of view. If people, not necessarily you, but there
I'm
is a
not
useful
saying there's
support for
anything
things.
wrong with the cat team.
Or you too sometimes, maybe, if necessary in the future, but that's what all the therapy is trying to avoid.
If it got to the point where I needed the cat team, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead.
Well,
because let's face it,
let's hope
nobody would even fucking know.
Let's not go to that extreme either.
I don't want to
But
die.
that's what all these things are for. We're doing, and I want to just say to you, Liv, we're getting to the point where the path to self-harm is overgrown. Like all the things that historically we used to worry about with cat teams and admissions and police and all the scary shit that happens. That's not the direction. But the cat team also, for a lot of people, because I'm mindful you do have an audience, is also a very important part of a lot of people's journey to staying alive.
Oh, I absolutely, okay. I've really got to learn to rephrase stuff better. Yes, I think the cat team are amazing. In
some instances, they do great work, and in other instances, it's not appropriate, or it can make people feel more hurt or more helpless.
Being able to go into the private hospital for a treatment.
Totally.
Yeah, well, I'd literally have to go on a public waiting list. I've never done it before. I don't have private health anymore. And it's like I don't feel like I'm not safe. Like I feel like I'm safe, like I'm doing the right things. Yes, maybe I might have a vodka and some weed in the evening.
I don't think in this instance, though, that the cat team would be particularly useful, because whilst we may, for a lot of times, have suicidal thoughts or thoughts about harming yourself, which you didn't have on this occasion, which is great. Still taking that as a win, but you didn't. Yes, no, I know. But the truth is that having a couple of people from the cat team visit you at night every couple of days to say, hi, how you going? Wouldn't change it. That's what the cat team does.
Maybe I just have a really bad perception of the cat team, because all I know about them is when someone's in pure crises, someone else will call them, they'll come in, and then they'll throw you in a hospital involuntarily.
Sometimes.
And that would be really horrifying.
Sometimes, but hopefully with a really compassionate and appropriate stance, and telling people about their rights and their options all along the way, hopefully.
Yeah, true.
But sometimes they come because people are in distress and it's dangerous, and they can do this really short-term work to try to support that peer episode. Sometimes for people it means admission. Sometimes it means admission against your will.
Yeah,
but that's an absolute last resort, because we all know that's a bit shit.
See, I feel like this is where it's becoming really confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I explained it like this to Faith, and I'm going to explain it the best way I can, but it's like I'm seeing two timelines. I'm seeing things happening right before they do, but I can't get there.
Like a sliding door situation?
Yeah. Like I truly believe everything happens for a reason. You can't pick and choose that shit. I believe that this Randy dying was going to happen before we were born. And the fact is, his mother and I get on like a house on fire. We're extremely spiritual. We understand the language we speak. One of the first things she did was contact me and ask me to please reach out to him on the other side. And I don't know how to do that intentionally, but I've been receiving information, what I call downloads, for the last 7 years. I don't talk about it with people in a Western sense, because if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it makes me look like I'm mad. But it's not visions, it's not voices, it's knowledge that is not there, and it appears, and it's the only way I can say it. And the reason I think, the reason I like being with you is because even though you might not be, say, as spiritual as me, you don't make me feel like I'm crazy.
Have you had any
downloads? Yes, I did.
From Randy?
Yes, I did. And
did you talk to his mom about it?
Of course I did. And that's the this is where I feel bad, because she'd asked me to do this. A download came through and I instantly started writing it, like channeling. And then it became so fucking long. And then I just freaked myself out. So I transferred it to a Word document because I was like, I can't overwhelm her. And then in the hindsight saw that the few hours it took from me getting the download, she'd sent me a message saying, please think of him as you know him, wrap him in bright violet light and send him love. And that's when I was like, okay, absolutely. I've also had information come. I was like, but I started writing it and it got longer and longer, and I got so overwhelmed and didn't want to overwhelm you. And she's like, just send me it now. And I did. And I said to her, I said, the information that came to me was that Randy knew this was coming, that all of our higher selves connected were aware this was coming. This was coming before we were born. Because I truly believe in every sense of the word that everything is energy. And for example, you have children. Your children knew that you were going to be their mother before they were born. It's a soul thing. It's an energetic thing. Down here in 3D, I'm the first person to admit most of this stuff sounds like it's absolutely fucking bonkers. But I'm living it. And when I can connect to the higher dimensions, which is all the fucking time, the sliding door example is good because it's like I can see what's happening. I was told by Randy in the download, we're not supposed to know why yet. It's a bigger picture thing. This was coming.
Do you think that giving her the document helped in any way?
Oh my God, are you kidding? Oh, she was so happy. She was so
Was there
like,
anything in it that was news to her or just reassuring about their relationship?
I would say news to her in the fact that we knew this was coming. She's just devastated, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Like, I'm not a parent, but he was like my closest friend. And this is where I'm struggling the most. My spiritual side, my higher self, the thing that's tattooed on my arm so flippin' big, is showing me and telling me and keeping me calm and going, this is all playing out for a reason. This isn't going to be understood now. It could be years from now about why we understand this happens. And at a higher soul level, I'm almost at peace because I can connect to him. He's here. I don't believe in heaven and hell. You know that. Religion and man-made bullshit to control, but I do believe that we're all energy. And
at some point his energy may disseminate elsewhere.
His energy, he'll come back. He's a young soul. But the thing is, like, why is it that I understand this stuff so well? And I'm talking like, this is years. This is, and I'm sure I've said it to you, it almost feels like what happened 6 years when my awakening started with Mr. X and the bullshit and quitting ice and everything that started this journey. For the last month or so, it's felt like it's just become this circle. It's all coming back around because everything I went through then is now coming to the forefront now. Like, so heightened. It's like smacking me in the face. And I just don't understand why this part of me down here in 3D can't fully connect. And I just keep breaking. And the only thing I can think of is because even though I know it's his human self that's gone, it's his human self that I could talk to, you know?
That's your grief. We don't have to understand him and where he's gone and what the purpose of that is.
I know.
But for you, love is grief because eventually you have to acknowledge that you don't get them talking back, typically, unless you have downloads. But there's no talk back. There's no phone call. There's no text. There's no check-in. There's no Sunday morning brunches. And we grieve for the change. Yes, we grieve for loss of them, but we grieve for the loss of them for ourselves.
I just didn't realize I hadn't been through this. You know, it's
I
so
think the thing
weird.
for you, Liv, though, is that your relationship with your family, like,
Mhm.
it's had its things. And in this instance, it's one of the few times in your life where you felt truly accepted, cared about, and loved. And then when we lose them, we feel like we lose that acceptance. But what I want you to try over time, it's not the time now, you're in the middle of grief. But over time, we're going to try to reframe it, you know. He fully accepted you. You are worthy of acceptance and care.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, because it's like, yes, I have friends and I understand all that, but I know I'm different. I know this. And he never cared.
Different isn't problematic. Different isn't defective. Different is just different.
I know, but yesterday, for example, Faith was there. And again, it's this two fucking timelines. It's like I'm me and I'm acting exactly how I am in the room with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like I'm seeing myself from the third dimension, like the
Right, yeah.
dissociative. And all I could see yesterday was me interrupting, me cutting her off, me not letting her finish the sentence. And in that moment, I just felt like the worst person alive. And at one point, I even said to her, oh my God, what is wrong with me? I keep interrupting you. And it's...
What did she say?
Basically that I'm grieving and it's okay, but it's not okay because it's not an excuse, and I just don't know how to fix this, and I just feel like that I have no real genuine friends because I'm a bad friend. I'm looking at myself now and I'm just seeing what everyone else must see.
While you're grieving, it's not the time to try to implement changes.
I've been trying to implement this change for years. Years. You know, like how come it's like I just feel like I'm so fucking broken. So broken. It's like I finally figured out my soul and I've managed to put that back together in a way that I'm happy. I like my own company. I actually don't like being around other people for long periods of a time. Funnily that. Too much of someone bugs me. I've always been that person that's been like, oh, I'm done with this guy. You're like, yes, you've been here 4 hours. We've hung out. Cool, I'm done now. Go, please. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always had friends that accepted me. And it was Randy that helped me see something on the very last day I saw him, because my next assignment, or the one I need to be doing now, is on that personality report. So my survey with the other people, yeah, and the other people that filled it out. And we'd been given the information, and it was 2 Wednesdays ago that we had the seminar on campus explaining the data, because the data looked like literally gibberish to me when I got it back. And after I printed everything I needed out, I went to his house. Because he's 15 minutes from uni. And it was, obviously we're going to have a catch up, and he had a job interview that I had planned, that I dropped him off for and all of that stuff. But while I was there, his mum happened to have been off, which was now in hindsight really good. She'd had that week off. She's normally a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I met his dad, I met his uncle, I met the family, but we went through the data, and he was so clever, because I know I'm not a stupid person, but it's honestly like sometimes when I look at something or I read something or whatever it might be, it honestly is like my brain just goes, I'm out of here, and I'm blank, and there's no other way to put it except blank, and I start to panic.
Mm-hmm.
And I go into overwhelm, and that's when I just start freaking out. And he was the one that was able to help me calm down, and he was the one that was able to help me understand the formulas. And we were going through one of the questions, And it was a practice one from the seminar, and it was something like, how often do you find fault with others? And I had written something like, oh, not too often. And Randy looks at me and he goes, are you sure, Liv? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, really think about that. And I was like, are you talking about Graham? And he's like, yes, and others. He's like, you love your friends. Perfect. Someone does something wrong, you don't like it, you just end a friendship. And he was like, I need to point this out to you, you know?
Well, good for him.
And it was
Brave moment.
It was one of those things that, like, obviously I needed to hear it, because when I was doing it, I legitimately was like, oh, I don't see faults in people, but I didn't even think about the fact that when something goes wrong, I just cut them out.
You don't like the shades of grey, no.
I'm getting better at the shades of grey, but my number one biggest thing in the world that I cannot accept, and I think this is where I'm really struggling in life, is how much people lie.
So then it's about choosing people, and I know we've talked about this before, but choosing people to have in your life who value honesty as much as you do.
But nobody values honesty as much as I do. Okay, I'll give you an example. And Faith doesn't watch my videos, and if she does, well, no one knows who she is. But her parents wanted to do honours, right? And she doesn't want to. And she told me she's going to tell them that she applied and wasn't accepted, but actually she's just not going to apply. So it's a lie. And I consider that a really big fucking lie. And I said to her, look, I can't have a judgment on this. I said, because as far as I'm concerned, I think lying on every level was wrong. And she's like, do you mean even white lies? I mean white lies, grey lies, big lies, small lies, all lies. I see lying to me is wrong. And the fact that she's so simply, and I'm just using this as an example, able to do it without even any thought, it's like, I know when I'm being lied to. And I guess it's like this fucking shades of grey crap. It's like, who am I willing to allow it from? But
where is the line between a white lie and a real lie? Or
a white lie is a real lie.
A white lie and
Go read Kant.
Lie.
You see, I would call it that's a serious lie. I didn't used to always be like this.
I know.
Let's face it, right? I think that's what I want my proposal to be on for philosophy.
And I think that's probably why you're so straight up and down about it. Because this has not always been how you've lived your life. And you just told me, you can't see the difference between a small lie, we'll call them small, innocuous lie, and a big lie. Where's the line?
There's no line as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
A lie is a lie.
So you're telling me you don't know where the line is. So you have to take a black and white approach, because for you, grey is problematic.
In this situation, absolutely. I have spent years in therapy, and I have seen the grey in lots. I cannot think of an example right now, but I can see the grey in some stuff.
Yes. I know you can. And then it becomes about saying, okay, it kind of doubles with the values of, say, respect. If you have somebody who's prepared to lie to you about what they eat for lunch,
that would just be fucking I know not to use that word, but
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I'm being very.
But if they can do that, then what else can they lie about, and what else doesn't matter? So if
that's what happens inside of my head. Yeah.
That's the issue.
Exactly.
So are there people who value honesty, aka also in this instance respect, as much as you? Probably some, but there's also people who don't have a recognition of the boundary. In a lot of standard heads, there's, what I ate for lunch doesn't matter, but whether I went to, I don't know, had an affair or not, probably would. Like people see that there's a continuum, and there's this imaginary like spot in the middle that's the 50% mark. But it's subjective, and for you, it's the line shifting so much is problematic, and so it's all just 100 or 0.
I'm starting to think that should be a part of my proposal.
Well, it's your proposal is about something that really matters to you, that you want to investigate and spend a lot of time on and research about, and so why not?
It's almost like, I don't know.
But people, I think, to go back to the point though, most people will have an arbitrary cutoff at around 50%, and that's their shades of gray. So everything's gray up until 50.
Now I get it.
And so is your expectation need to change perhaps? Because, or
it's not about whether they lie to other people. It's that the fact that I know people lie so often about stuff, then
it's about
they're
your
willing.
tolerance to that.
I said to her yesterday, I said, do not ever lie to me. I said, please. I said, you don't understand what this means to me. If I find out you've lied to me, I personally think I'm being lied to about Queensland, but you know.
And that's the thing. So for you, I'd rather hear any of things that's bad. Anything bad. Give it to me straight, though.
100,000%.
I think that other people whose values are in a different priority level, will be like, you know what, I'll just, I'll value caring or compassion more than I will lie right now, the honesty right now.
No, I get
and
that.
So they'll say the white lie to save the hurt.
That's what I feel like is happening about Queensland.
Well, how do you find out? The truth is you ask the question.
I have been asking the question and getting the same answers.
Then you got to stop asking the question because you've been given the answer.
Yes, I know.
Because the answer's not going to change.
And I keep thinking I've let it go, but then it comes back up.
You haven't let it go. You did fine in Queensland.
I don't fucking remember. They finally sent us a clip from it, and they had
video clip,
like a little the mantra thing, all the different videos put together that was put up on the social.
Montage.
That's the word.
Yes.
And Faith and the boss, they just look so fucking professional. And the part that they filmed of me, I watched it and it was like I just felt so humiliated, because the only part that they put of me in it was when I was like, I literally said I was told I'd never work again at 26, and then I realised that my purpose was to come and tell stories, and now I'm here telling stories to you, which is all well and good, but not really on point.
Well, it's an important concept for people to hear after their target audience needs to hear there's life after where they're at.
Yeah, I know. And even with this whole philosophy thing, it's like I'm almost even more passionate about it since that's how I met Randy. And he and I used to just talk and I think in a way like that's going to help his mum, because Randy and I, like I said, no kidding, if I was to go on my phone and check, the last video we had went for 18 and a half minutes simply because he was in the city leaving somewhere, an appointment. But the one before that was like 2 hours. The other one, and then like it was like we had a break in between and an hour before that. So like, and and this is like I keep saying, I believe what I believe, not because I read it in a book, but because of what I'm living through. And I know that if I hadn't lived through or am living through what I would probably look at someone like they might be mad too. I am thankfully at the point where I don't care about what other people think. I think my videos prove that one. I have had I sent out a message to the group chat on Friday, it would have been.
School group chat.
Yeah, because I was like, please guys, tell me what to do. I'm an absolute mess. I'm freaking out. My things are like due tonight, and it's hard enough to function when I live in pain.
Yeah.
Impossible when I'm crying to the point of unable to even speak.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who told me to write the email, and I just got such an outpouring of love. And a few people messaged me, like privately, and
which is all wonderful to have the validation and support, but also I wish you could do that for you.
Well, me and Faith had a conversation about that yesterday too, because we were talking about validation, and she was like, "You need to have more self-compassion," and I'm like, "You realize how hard this is with a mother who literally says to me that I don't deserve compassion," and she was like, "Your mother's not here. Let's not worry about your mother." And then she's
I like that she just does my job for me.
she is so cool. She walked in and I hugged her and just cried until I couldn't stop crying. And then we both sat at the kitchen table and I was just like fully going into like panic. And she said nothing, but she started breathing. And it was just like I knew what she was doing. And as soon as she started doing it, I obviously registered it. And I was like, I know what you're doing. But it worked. It worked. She didn't have to say anything. She just started breathing slowly. And in doing so, I was able to stop crying. And she's so good. And I just, now it's like I felt guilty because of how much I rambled on. And like she sent me messages today saying, I really hope you're okay. I'm sending you all the love in the world. You know, you've got this. I've actually been like I'm meant to be doing another storytelling on the 4th of October, and it's a new one. They've increased our rates again. Big obviously I'm not allowed to say it because of private confidentiality, so I'll tell you when I stop that. But
like your personal rates or for participation from
so you know how
clients?
we would get like you know how I said to you, like, we originally, the storytellers were getting 100 and then the facilitators were getting more, and then I argued the point at the beginning saying we're all doing the same amount of work, we all are worth the same. But they were sort of doing this like one price for the workshop regardless. Yeah. So now the rate has increased and it's per 60 minutes, and the contract has been updated to say keep an eye on the time so that you can actually put in the minutes.
The billable hours.
Yeah. And I asked her yesterday, I was like, why is this happening? Like, what's going on? And she said, it's the boss's dream that we will all be able to be storytellers or facilitators as our job. And as he continues to get more people sign on and he gets more people coming into it and more business, he's like, our rates are going to keep increasing, and it is his number one goal for us to be able to quit any other jobs that people who aren't on disability obviously have, and just do this for a living.
Okay.
And that's amazing.
It is great.
You know,
but with the validation, you know, one of the things that we eventually are going to aim for is that you don't have to seek external validation. We've talked about it for a long time. We're going to talk about self-validation.
I'm still trying.
One of the ways we do that is by having the voice in your head. Perhaps Faith is a good voice to have in your head. Or Randy.
Yeah, I've been talking to Randy a lot.
Maybe Randy's voice is the voice of reason in your head. That one that challenges you. The one
he
that
was
says.
that one. He was always the one that I'd seen like emails to.
So when it would be, let me just check. Would Randy be pissed about this? Is this worth my reactions? No. Okay. What would Randy say?
Oh my God, I love that. I'm going to write that down because
you don't have to write it down because you have your little camera thing.
I do, right? I realize that. I like brought all my stuff and notes, and then it's like, but
you
yeah.
You don't need to. I mean, you can if you want. Here's a pen.
That's perfect because he was that person. Because I'm a very emotional person.
He's that person who challenged you to say, actually, you see fault in people.
Oh, he did. But do you remember how I got really upset about work and then I wanted to send an email to my boss and then I wrote it and it was like so emotional, so I walked away and then I came back and tried to fix it and then I walked away and then again and then I sent it to Randy and Randy was like, no, we're not doing this, Liv. He's like, these are all the different perspectives that you have not taken into account, and I'm just like, but I like that. What would Randy say?
Because Randy would challenge you and made you consider alternative perspectives. And, you know, Liv, it's not like you know, you're a smart woman. It's not like you can't consider the other perspectives. The issue is when you get overwhelmed or caught up, you don't consider the other perspectives. It's just not there. It's not like I'm doing it on purpose. Having that internal voice in your head whoever it is, whether it's your own voice or Randy's or whatever.
My voice isn't very nice. We're working on her.
Okay. Having that internal checkpoint of what are the other perspectives.
I know.
He until now he's been your external checker, your mediator, your moderator, your reflection.
Oh, that's so good. That's just made me so happy because I am so connected to the collective energy, and I've been becoming so overwhelmed because when his mum asked me to do what she did, that's the first time in my life someone's actually asked me to intentionally do this. And as I'm sure you can imagine, the overwhelm, I've been connecting to people for a long time. Me and Mr. X have been connected at soul level for millennia, but this stuff may sound like I'm mad to some people, but I really don't care anymore because it's actually real.
Yeah.
And
it actually doesn't matter.
Exactly. It doesn't matter to anyone else.
It's your experience in your, I want to say head, but I'm not sure it is that your head, but you know what I mean.
It's just an energetic
It's
vibration.
How you interact with the world. It's how you reflect on things. And I think the truth is that going to him historically, it's been going to him, sending the email and having him reflect that back. But you know it, or you would have pressed send.
Yeah, that's like I'm getting better.
I know. And instead of sending it to your boss, you sent it to Randy. Well, I'm saying Randy can still be that moderator, but not in a physical way anymore.
No, but I like that because I've been dealing with most of people in my non-physical, like my relationship with my family and Mr. X and everybody's not in the physical at the moment. Though I did get some good news, sort of. I was freaking out and just falling apart, and my brother had been emailing me at the beginning of the year off and on, just real short stuff, and I haven't known if he's known what's been going on. Anyway, I just sent him an email. My brother, I just downloaded everything that has happened, where I'm at, what's going on, and I was like, I just need somebody to talk to. So my brother has been emailing me back and forth, and that's been really nice. Then the craziest thing happened, and I know we've got to wrap up, so I'll be quick, but he sent a message through because of the fact that up until yesterday I've been alone, yeah? So I haven't had anyone to even lean on, which
literally,
I literally couldn't even foresee in my wildest dreams that I would be going through something like this without anybody there. Mm-hmm. And my brother had said something like, what about his family? Can you go with them? Because in New Zealand it's different. Like, we're very similar to here, but we're also very different. Because if it was roles reversed, no one would be by themselves. They'd be immediately brought into the family. And my brother was like, why don't you go and be with his family? And I had said to him, it doesn't work like that over here. I've let her know that I'm here whenever I can see her. But I can't just intrude in this time. Well, I like your facial expression because I would love to, but I just don't.
You can always offer support and you can always ask for what you want, and they can always decline.
See, I haven't asked if I can come, and because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to act in this situation.
What did Kate say? Nothing. She just sat on the kitchen table and breathed with you.
Exactly.
You don't say anything. Because the truth is, Liv, I've dealt with a lot of grief in our lives, professionally and personally, and at the end of the day, nothing you can say makes it better. Nothing.
Like, I would love to be able to just go and be with his family. You know, his mum was the one that contacted me.
If you feel like that would help them,
that's the thing, I don't know.
Or be neutral to them and help you. But if you feel like it will be problematic for them, then no.
Yeah, that's what, because I don't know, I'm not doing that.
It could be problematic for you if they don't have grief reactions that you can.
No, I get it.
Because the black and white, like, I think in this instance it would be black and white. You would want to see sort of distress. And if they were like just watching TV and
no, they'd be she's been messaging me daily, so she's distressed.
Yeah.
But I guess what I was gonna say was,
but she might not be able to express that.
And that's why I said to her, I'm sending you love every day. I keep sending you love. And I've said to her, when you're ready, I would love to come and see you. So to me, that's the
won't ever
only.
ask you. So when did
Obviously,
he pass? What day did he pass?
During the night on Thursday night, sometime between Thursday night and Friday morning. But obviously, his age, no underlying conditions, nothing.
Yeah.
There's going to be an autopsy.
Oh, of course.
I'll be
So
going
why
to the
don't you
funeral,
just-
obviously.
Of course. Why don't, if you want to have a way, like people are proud and they don't always ask for help, and people are private and they don't always know how to share, express emotion. You know her, you get along with her. Why don't you just say, "Hi, Randy's mom." Okay, I don't know her name.
Sue.
"Hi, Sue. Do you want to go for a coffee today? Are you up for a coffee today?"
Thank
And if
you.
she's not up for a coffee, she says no, or she doesn't reply,
Yeah, no, that's a good
or whatever.
idea.
But
'Cause
you're saying, "Here, do you want it?"
I like that because I haven't known how to say it, because when we met, her and I, it was instantly we clicked because we are very spiritual in a very similar sense.
No,
Whereas
she probably won't want to go out for a
Oh,
coffee
yeah.
yet. Although maybe a
I
bit of
just didn't-
distraction is also very appropriate.
Well, I just didn't know how to go about it except for what I've said. So that's
Very simple,
really
just to-
helped.
Do you want to have a coffee? Are you? Well, not even. Do you want to?
Can
Are
I-
you?
yeah.
Are you up for one?
Yeah, I might do that because her daughter lives in America.
Yeah.
She's obviously flown back.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest and say the other only download I got, and it came all through at once, and I did say it to her, and it's so fucking bizarre, it's not funny. But because of my house crisis and the bullshit, Randy had always said if something happens, he was going to ask if I could stay with them because they've got this fucking huge house, and it's only the two of them, and
Parents.
just her. It was just Sue and Randy. That was it, and he didn't obviously pay board or bond or anything. And yeah, so I did say to her, I said, look, Randy's sending me visions of us living together because of what he had said in the past. I said, obviously, I'm just telling you as the information comes in, because the only thing I got really clear from her was whatever information is coming, you need to tell me immediately, and that's what I'm doing. But I guess the last thing I wanted to say is my mum's 70th birthday is tomorrow.
Mm.
And I had misread my brother's email, and I read it as my mum was in the country, and I flipped out and I wrote an email back, as you can imagine, crying my eyes out, going, oh my God, how could she be in Melbourne? How is this happening? Why don't I know? And then obviously gave my brother like this download of this is what's been happening. It's no contact since January, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what you don't know. But I sent her a present. She said, thank you. He replied saying, don't worry, mistakes are made. Like, he didn't hold that against me. And then obviously he's worried about me.
Yeah.
And he sent a couple messages, like email last night. And the very last one he sent last night was, just so you know, Mum absolutely loves the present you got her. She keeps showing it off, showing people, showing me. It's really
The box,
fancy. Yeah. So I had not planned on messaging her happy birthday tomorrow, but she actually messaged me saying, Tola's told me about your friend. I want you to know, like, we're sending you love. We hope you're strong. And obviously I am going to message her, but yeah.
I think that's the best choice.
So yeah.
Sometimes when tragedy occurs, it sort of forces an olive branch.
Yeah, I know. Maybe
And
that's...
it's only a branch. It's
I know.
not got roots yet.
I'm not holding out for
You
anything,
know how I am
but
with plants, but
I
you
know.
know, you can make them grow somehow, but you probably have to give it, like, I don't know.
don't do what I did and not fucking turn the fan on like high enough, because my plant just went. And
Why
I
does
was
your
like,
plant need a fan?
because I'm growing weed in my backyard, remember?
Why does it need a fan?
Because it's got boiling fucking hot lights, so the lights are on for 12 hours and then off for 12 hours. It's in this huge tent, everything was perfect, and then she
Doesn't
started.
it need sunlight? Sorry.
That's the lights. But yeah, my point being, she looked perfect, biggest, most beautiful one I've ever had, and then she starts drooping.
What? Does she
And
need
then
water?
last night, no, I
I don't
watered
know.
her.
I don't know.
Last night I realised that the fan was like almost on nothing, and it needed to be on the highest level to be sucking out the heat. So fingers crossed, she'll be fine. But apparently she's only got two.
Oh my God, it does,
I
doesn't
don't.
it?
I just call her my baby.
Oh.
Truthfully, I just call her my little girl.
You know, talking about growing creepers and maybe a fig leaf or something.
You don't happen to know anyone that wants to adopt a snake, or we already had this conversation?
No, snake, no.
Actually, I might swing past the pet store that I've asked to look into it on the way home.
Snake stays on that little way.
He's so big. He's bigger than my arm.
No.
I look at him. I
No.
swear to God, he's like out to here.
Yeah, I have a phobia. Let's not.
I'm so glad this damn works now. I don't have to go and buy another one. So I will be coming to see you.
Okay.
I honestly thought that I would have bawled my eyes out.
No, I'm not surprised you didn't.
One last question that I've only really registered yesterday. You might be able to help me. I take all my medication that I need pain-wise while I'm doing schoolwork, but it only hit me last night that on days when I'm not doing schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
I don't take my meds.
No, take it all the time.
Like I take my daily meds, but my
Oh.
pain meds, even when
It depends. Are your pain meds prescribed for as you need it, or are they prescribed for every day?
as I need it, but I'm saying I need them on the days I'm not doing schoolwork, but I don't think of them. I think of the vape first, and I can't tell if it's like some sort of weird self, like, do you know what I mean? Like by not taking them, I'm only hurting myself, and it's only just recently come to my realization. So I think I'm just
And your
confused.
routine is probably problematic, and you probably think,
Yes.
and you probably think you can tolerate more pain because you don't have to
Yes,
concentrate on
I
school.
think that's what it is.
But do you have to tolerate the pain? That's why you have a prescription for pain medications.
Yes, good
You know,
point.
that's something you should talk to your doctor, whose name I don't know what you use on here.
I
Talk
just
to her
talked to
about
her
it.
as in my GP. I haven't thought of that yet.
But
yeah.
see, and if you need to review them, then review them. But you know, and because the thing is that while you're not doing it every day, they'll be less effective because prophylactic pain is easier to treat than active pain.
Okay then.
So
Things to think
you
about.
keep your pain in control
Yeah.
rather than try to manage the spikes. You know, you
That's-
keep it like this rather than this.
That's what I've
But
got to
if you're
do.
not like this, or if you're right now you're doing this,
Yeah, that's exactly it.
this is probably one, an easier function level. Two,
Yeah.
you might even be able to reduce your pain meds if you take them regularly.
Yes, that's I think what she's been saying. I guess that all makes sense.
They're as needed,
Yeah.
but if you need them, that's what
Oh,
they're
I
for.
need them. I'm in excruciating pain, and all of this is making it worse, as you can
Well,
probably imagine.
It's linked.
Yeah. Okay, I'm guessing we're gonna have to. I'm going to stop you now.